You play on, especially in the early stuff, you play on the idea of not having done any research. Do you have
I do, or you haven't done any?
No. I've done a little bit. But no, you actually say in one of them, I think there was the wrestling one, where the guy says, oh, you know, you've done a documentary about wrestling. Have you not done any research? And you say, no. Literally, did you not do any work at all, or did you do it and then you have to sort of mask it and hide it?
No, I think I had done some research, and I think, I was caught a little off guard in that interview with someone. We were at the airport, and there was a wrestler there, and I said, oh, let's go and interview this guy, and it turns out he was quite famous in wrestling community, in the wrestling circle, but I didn't know who he was, and he obviously took that amiss. But I think I try to do plenty of research, to be honest with you, but sort of part of, and this is sort of where this sort of faux naive thing comes in. Sometimes people say I'm faux naive, or that I ask naive questions. I'm not the best person to judge whether or not that's fair, but I do think that part of the journalistic posture when you're on TV is that you can't be seen to know too much. Partly it's not very appealing if you sort of know all the answers to the questions you're asking, but also there's a necessary assumed ignorance where you sort of, you say like, well, how long have you been doing this? And you've read your notes and you know they've been doing it 10 years, but you need to make a scene out of it. Do you know does that make sense? Yeah, because there was a guy who's I think he was busted for cocaine. Yeah. And you sort of saying, weren't you in prison at some point? And it finally reveals that he was Pablo Escobar's right, exactly,
lawyer.
Yeah. Although oddly enough, I think I hadn't known that. So maybe I don't do any research. And you were, there's a ripple of applause there. So you were really, quite early on, you were really into getting stuck in as well. So this is what they call gonzo journalism in some ways. Was that where did that come from? Was that just because you wanted to kind of get involved to sort of show that you wanted to be immersed in that? I'd started out on TV Nation, and I'd noticed that people seemed to find it quite funny when I got really stuck in it and got involved. I didn't grow up, parenthetically to that, I didn't grow up thinking of myself as a comic kind of person, thinking like, I've got glasses and quite a big nose. I'm skinny and 6'2". I'm kind of gangly. I'm quite a humorous-looking person. That wasn't. I didn't really go around thinking about that. But I noticed that when I did sort of do that on TV, people found it quite funny. And in a sense, I went there somewhat cynically, thinking, well, this might make people laugh. But then actually, I think in the process of doing it, I realised it worked on other levels, and that there was a sense of by showing willing. And sort of having not too much regard for my own dignity and self-importance, it sort of softened the edges of of me kind of having fun with the people I was with.
I'd been trying my best, I just couldn't keep up. But dropping out wasn't an option.
Shut up! Everybody back!
It seems Sarge was still fuming over my questions at the Monday Nitro event.
Move your legs! And say, sir, I'm a dying cockroach, sir.
Sir, I'm a dying cockroach.
Now give me 3 seconds. Finish him out.
I'm a dying cockroach.
I don't care if you're a dying cockroach. You see that foot? It's gonna squash you. Come on, 17. There you go. 18. There you go. 19. There you go. 20. All right.
Tell me a little bit about your relationship with the people that you make your films with. I mean, you come in as an outsider, you want them to open up to you. How do you kind of win their confidence, and what do and is there a sense that they feel like you're not giving enough of yourself to it as well, or how does that work?
Okay, that's the family jewels right there. That's the trade secret, in a sense, isn't it? It's like, because I think without a sense of openness and trust with the people that you're making a film about, you don't really have a film. And I think it's just trying to put yourself across and showing willing, and being and putting the hours in. I mean, it starts actually before I get involved, in a sense that the director and the assistant producer will, after we've chosen a subject, they'll go out and do a recce, and they'll meet with, they'll meet lots of different people who are possible participants for the film, and they're the ones who seem right. So in a sense, there's this first pass that you take. The ones who seem really interested in making a film, okay, they're the ones we focus on, and then I go out, and then, there's people we film and don't use. So it's about narrowing down and homing in on the people that it feels like I'm building up some kind of a rapport with.
How do you find something to make a connection with those people? Because without that chemistry and without that connection, you don't have a film, do you?
You know, I'm not being funny. I do find that I sympathise, and there's a little bit of a Stockholm syndrome that sets in where you spend time with people and their choices, when you're with them after a while, start to seem very valid, and kind of you sort of think, actually, why did I have a problem, with thinking that the world was going to end and stocking up on canned goods and moving to Idaho? Because actually, there's a lot to be said for it, and I think that's quite a healthy place to be as a journalist, as long as you can to activate that side of your brain, which also is the part that engages with the person. They sense, that there's an openness there, and then, but also have, the other part of your brain kind of a little bit in control as well. I'm also aware I'm a little bit of an imposter because I don't direct these documentaries. I am involved in, the editing and the making and the production of them, but it's not exclusively me. So I don't think of myself as a documentary maker.